If you ever see this in your McDonald's sandwich, run. From Kentucky Fried Towels to bullet-riddled hot dogs and even Chinese meals with human teeth, we've seen some truly disturbing food discoveries. Whatever this stuff is, it's clearly not okay. Let's look at some other insane but true stories that all share a clear message. If you notice anything like this in your food, throw it away immediately. Unwanted surprises in your takeout. Imagine ordering takeout only to find something truly horrific in your food. That's exactly what happened to Stephanie McDana in Solihull, England, back in 2019. After just a few bites of her Chinese delivery, she spat out a tooth, and it wasn't hers. Yes, as unbelievable as it sounds, Stephanie discovered a genuine whole human tooth in her meal. Despite the obvious evidence, the restaurant bizarrely tried to dismiss it as part of an onion. Seriously, who thinks that's an onion? Thankfully, the secret ingredient was tested and, unsurprisingly, confirmed to be a human tooth. Authorities investigated how on earth a tooth ended up in Stephanie's dinner, but the chilling mystery remains unsolved, with no public explanation ever given. It certainly makes you wonder what else was in that meal. Fingers in your frozen dessert. The USA produces around 6.4 billion pounds of frozen dessert each year, but for some, these treats come with an unappetizing bonus. Picture this. It's 2005, and North Carolina resident Clarence Stowers visits a Kohl's frozen custard drive-thru. Back home, enjoying his dessert, he felt a lump. Thinking it was just candy, he kept eating. But when the candy's flavor and texture confused him, he spit it out to investigate. What followed was a shriek of horror. Clarence had found what appeared to be a freshly severed human finger in his frozen custard. But Clarence wasn't the only one having a bad day. The finger belonged to 23-year-old Kohl's employee, Brandon Pfizer. In a chaotic moment, Brandon's hand got caught in the custard machine while he was trying to catch a falling bucket. His index finger was swiftly severed at the first knuckle. Amidst this chaos, Clarence unknowingly pulled up to the drive-thru and was served a scoop containing human flesh. Reports indicate Clarence took legal action against the frozen dessert shop, even keeping Brandon's finger in his freezer as evidence. The outcome of the lawsuit remains unknown, but we can only hope Brandon eventually got his finger back. The uninvited guests. While Pixar's Ratatouille may offer a charming depiction of a rat in the kitchen, the reality is far from whimsical. Finding a rodent where your food is prepared is a deeply unsettling experience, as one anonymous cook discovered in 2010. While opening an industrial-sized can of baked beans, he unearthed a grim sight: a dead rat, fully intact, stewing in the tomato sauce. The sheer horror of such a discovery would undoubtedly warrant therapy. How did it get there? Most likely the rat either climbed or fell into the can or a cooking vat at the factory, becoming trapped alive in its bean tomb. Or perhaps it was Skinner from Ratatouille finally getting his revenge on Remy, though that's hardly a family-friendly thought. Though the manufacturer of these limited edition rat flavor beans remained anonymous, other brands like Heinz quickly asserted their innocence. Unfortunately, food factories by their very nature are common attractions for pests like rats, mice, cockroaches, and flies. Given the undeniable presence of rats in this particular factory, it raises a chilling question. What other horrors, fur, urine, droppings, might have contaminated other cans of beans? Just when you thought beans on toast couldn't get any more horrifying. If that last story curbed your appetite, brace yourself, because the rodent tales continue. In 2023, a customer at Australian grocery chain Coles literally got more than he bargained for when he cracked open a can of the store's own brand chickpeas and found, well, this. What he saw could only be described as a miniature, underdeveloped or badly mutated baby rat. Extra protein and a side of potential bubonic plague. When questioned, Coles expressed their concern, putting it on record that their suppliers supposedly take great care in processing products. Clearly. Yet for the trauma of discovering a fetal rat in his chickpeas, the customer received no goodwill gestures, only a mere apology. But a miniature rat pales in comparison to our next gruesome tale. Posted to Reddit, one unlucky chip muncher opened a bag of Hare's potato chips and discovered something truly unsavory. Lying among her chips, dusted in seasoning, was a very furry, very dead mouse. The sheer magnitude of my own scream and tears if I found this would be immeasurable. And yet, despite this trauma-inducing discovery, the manufacturer allegedly told her she was overreacting and that it was merely a burnt chip. A burnt chip? Overreacting? Apologies, I may be overreacting now. Given my indulgent potato chip habit, seeing something like that might actually be great for my diet. Not so great for the mouse, though. The masked McNugget. In 2020, British mom Laura Arbour faced every parent's nightmare. She bought her 6-year-old daughter a McDonald's Happy Meal with chicken McNuggets. What started as a happy occasion quickly turned terrifying when her daughter began choking. As Laura induced vomiting, she was horrified to see flecks of blue amidst what came out. Alarmingly, it soon became clear a blue face mask had been baked directly into the McNugget. Imagine the shock of dissecting the nugget and seeing this for yourself. Laura returned to the restaurant, but claims she didn't even receive an apology. Her primary concern wasn't compensation, it was whether McDonald's would continue serving their clearly contaminated stock. Shockingly, they did. In 2020, perhaps this was McDonald's unsettling COVID-19 edition Happy Meal. The exact origin of this masked nugget remains a mystery, though it's most likely that a face mask fell off a factory worker during the meat grinding or nugget cutting process, becoming inadvertently and terrifyingly integrated into the food. The bullet in the belly. Here's a riddle for you. A woman has a bullet in her stomach, but no wound. How? The simple answer, she swallowed it. But how and why would someone swallow a bullet? In 2004, an Irvine woman named Olivia Chains, feeling hungry, stopped at her local Costco for a hot dog. As she munched on what seemed like a perfectly normal frank, she encountered something extremely hard. Alarmed, Olivia inspected her hot dog and, to her utter shock, discovered an actual bullet embedded in the sausage meat. In a truly perplexing turn of events, 2 9mm round bullet tips had somehow found their way into that hot dog. Even worse, Olivia unknowingly swallowed one of them. While a full bullet with its cartridge would be an impossible swallow, even just the tips caused Olivia severe abdominal pains. Bizarrely, doctors advised against surgical removal, suggesting it was best left to naturally exit the body. Even more strangely, a thorough investigation of Costco's entire hot dog stock for contaminants yielded nothing else. Perhaps Olivia was the unwitting winner of some bizarre Find the Special Bullet competition. The phone in the chips. Okay, a bullet certainly isn't the best prize, but what about a phone? In 2009, Emma Schweiger of Wisconsin was completely mystified when she opened a packet of potato chips and discovered a mobile phone inside. While a Nokia brick phone wasn't a viral meme back then, it probably felt like hitting the jackpot. The device was found in a bag of Aldi's Clancy's brand chips, though exactly how it got there remains an unsolved mystery. With the phone completely broken, there was no way to trace it back to its owner. One can only imagine if the bullet hot dog woman had found it, she might have accidentally swallowed that too. Are you eating bricks? Speaking of eating bricks, though not the Nokia variety, did you know you might actually be consuming brick dust without even knowing it? Allow me to explain. Among less reputable retailers worldwide, there's a long history of spice adulteration, a practice dating back thousands of years. Spices are bulked up with foreign ingredients to reduce costs. For instance, garlic powder is occasionally cut with white pepper. Black pepper has been found to contain papaya seeds, and turmeric has been discovered with dried chalk. But one common unsettling adulterant in paprika is none other than brick dust. It's difficult to pinpoint just how prevalent this issue is, but a 2016 study, which spectroscopically examined multiple common paprika powders, identifying compounds based on how light passes through, found that many tested positive for relatively high concentrations of brick dust. The highest amount detected was an astounding 14% of the overall mixture. This kind of adulteration is most common in super cheap brands not typically found in reputable supermarkets. While consuming small amounts of brick dust might not cause immediate harm, it's certainly not what you're paying for. More concerning, for individuals with severe allergies, hidden fraudulent ingredients like this can pose serious health risks. So, next time you reach for the paprika, be aware. The seasoning for your food might be better suited for building a house. The alien in the tuna can. In 2015, British mom Zoe Butler believed she'd found extraterrestrial life in her can of tuna. As she peeled open the lid, a two-eyed, limbless, squidgy creature stared back at her. Stuart Hine from London's Natural History Museum quickly identified the creature, not as an alien, but as a Chimathoa exigua, a tongue-eating parasite. This horrifying creature enters a fish through its gills, severs the blood vessels in its tongue, causing it to detach. The parasite then attaches itself to the remaining stub, effectively becoming the fish's new tongue, feeding on its blood and mouth mucus. While it's plausible this little horror had attached itself to a tuna's tongue, how it managed to make it into the can in one piece defied easy explanation. Prince's, the manufacturer of the tuna, offered a possible alternative explanation. They suggested the creature might not be a tongue louse after all, but rather a megalopa, a small breed of crab that tuna prey on. The company theorized its legs were likely chopped off during processing, leaving behind the bug-eyed body. Whatever the true reason for its unwelcome presence, I'll certainly be skipping tuna salad for a while. Moldy coconut water. There's nothing quite as refreshing as chilled coconut water on a hot summer's day. However, after hearing our next story, you might think twice before reaching for one. In 2017, New York mother Barbara Clean cracked open a bottle of Vita Coco coconut water. After just one gulp, she immediately knew something was terribly wrong. In her own words, she swallowed a thick, syrupy and disgusting chunk of something. Frankly, it's hard to keep reading. Certain that something sinister was afoot, Barbara fully opened the bottle, only to be confronted by a huge, gloopy blob of mold. Or, as she put it, an octopus-looking thing. It's hard to imagine finding anything more terrifying in your drink. Unsurprisingly, Barbara immediately began to vomit. She claims to be deathly allergic to mold and, as a result, suffered extreme vomiting, diarrhea, and even asthma attacks. That coconut water doesn't seem quite so refreshing anymore, does it? Despite Barbara's apparent severe reaction, a spokesperson for Vita Coco was quoted as saying that while the company also believed the object was indeed mold, they highly doubt that it would pose a health risk. Talk about trying to avoid a lawsuit. They also insisted customers are most likely at fault for improperly storing their product, an assertion Barbara strongly denied. It turns out this is far from the first time mold has been found in Vita Coco's products. Countless other unhappy customers have taken to the web to expose similar gloopy blobs, strongly suggesting an issue with the product's manufacturing process itself. Hearing Barbara's story has certainly made me think twice about risking Vita Coco again, though perhaps if I found mold, I could sue them for every penny possible. The hidden danger of green potatoes. From chips, fries, and mash to even generating electricity, the humble potato seems capable of anything. That versatility, however, comes with a surprising caveat. Potatomophobia isn't just a tongue twister, it's the fear of potatoes. And while you might scoff, it turns out potatoes can indeed be quite deadly. If you ever encounter a potato with green spots, it's probably best to toss it in the trash immediately. These green areas likely contain a poisonous chemical known as solanine. While death by potato is far more probable if someone throws one at your head, ingesting solanine can cause a range of unpleasant symptoms, from nausea, vomiting, and headaches to a delightful case of diarrhea. But why does this happen? It's primarily due to sun exposure. When potatoes are exposed to sunlight, they produce chlorophyll, the pigment that turns them green. While chlorophyll itself is harmless, its presence can signal the increased production of solanine. Excessive sunlight only amplifies this, which is why proper storage in a cool, dark place is highly recommended. Sources also suggest that physical damage, as well as notably high or low temperatures, can stimulate solanine production. The highest concentrations of solanine are typically found in the peel. While peeling a green potato can significantly reduce its solanine content, studies suggest that much of the toxicity can remain in the flesh. This means a peeled potato may still cause illness, even after cooking. All this toxicity serves a purpose. It's the potato's natural defense mechanism against insects and bacteria. Now, I'm no farmer, but perhaps we could just put some sunscreen on them or something. Fast food's disturbing secrets. McDonald's has been a fast food favorite since the 1950s, but knowing what sometimes goes on behind the counter might make you think twice. In 2017, a former McDonald's employee shared a stomach-churning image on X, formerly Twitter, the rotten drip tray from a McDonald's ice cream machine in a Louisiana restaurant. The photo quickly went viral, prompting McDonald's to respond with a statement claiming they are committed to running great restaurants, and that this equipment doesn't come into contact with any food and is required to undergo regular cleaning. Regular, apparently, meaning once every 12 years, given the accumulated grime. This wasn't the first expose of a filthy McDonald's ice cream machine, perhaps explaining why they're always broken. Disturbingly, the employee who posted the image was fired for exposing this cesspit of bacteria, which could be lurking in the shadows of your local McDonald's, attracting all sorts of pests. Maggots in your McNuggets. In 2022, Georgia Poole from Birmingham, UK, was halfway through her McDonald's burger when she spotted a fly crawling on the bun. Alarm bells ringing, she inspected the burger further and made a truly sickening discovery. Countless maggot eggs, presumably freshly laid by the culprit fly. Imagine if Georgia hadn't looked and consumed those eggs. She could have suffered from bacterial poisoning or, depending on the type of fly, even myiasis, where maggots burrow into human tissue. A terrifying prospect you should definitely not Google image search. In response, a McDonald's spokesperson assured that food safety and quality control is of utmost importance. However, given what we've seen, this is hard to believe. This exact scenario also happened to an Australian man in 2018. What was clearly a cluster of maggot eggs was, hilariously, dismissed by the store manager as extra sesame seeds or a smaller onion. One has to wonder why the manager didn't take a bite of that extra onion to prove it. Perhaps it was the same manager caught in another Australian restaurant drying a filthy, soggy mop head right under the fry heater, undoubtedly dripping gruesome dirt and bacteria onto the fries below. Frankly, I'm not loving it. Unfortunately, McDonald's isn't the only fast food chain with dirty hands. Burger King has had its own horrifying incidents, arguably even worse. Back in 2001, Bronx resident Angelina Cruz chomped into her Burger King breakfast sandwich and suddenly felt something extremely sharp pierce the inside of her cheek. It wasn't glass or plastic, but a literal needle from a syringe inside her sandwich. This understandably left her with extreme concerns about contracting a deadly disease like HIV. Public reports don't detail Angelina's outcome or how the needle ended up there, but she rightfully sought to sue the chain for $11 million. Talk about a whopper of a lawsuit. A similar, yet more extreme case occurred in Honolulu, Hawaii in 2015, with a more decisive outcome. A man encountered multiple needles in his Burger King food. One pierced his tongue, and another lodged itself in his small intestine. This shocking surprise earned him a $50,000 settlement from Burger King, which honestly seems a little low for such a traumatic experience. While encountering a potentially life-threatening biohazard is traumatizing enough, other discoveries at Burger King are equally disturbing. What exactly are we seeing in this next example? The details are murky, but when reported, it was described as filthy cords, hair, and dirty cardboard baked into the bread bun. Cords from what? Hair from where? The thought is chilling. The unlucky recipient at a Swiss Burger King didn't realize the monstrosity lurking until after taking a bite, immediately beginning to vomit. So much so that later that day he had to visit the hospital due to severe stomach cramps and gastrointestinal symptoms. He eventually recovered without permanent issues, but it's unsettling that this was served at all, indicating a complete lack of quality control. So, Burger King customers, consider yourselves warned. The Broccoli Brotherhood. While you expect excellent nutrition from a serving of broccoli, you typically don't expect to be greeted by an army of wriggling caterpillars. Yet, in 2020, Londoner Sam Darlaston discovered exactly that in a bag of broccoli from his local Tesco. Most people would be horrified, but not Sam. With lockdown providing ample free time, he embraced an unexpected fatherhood, raising 7 of the caterpillars. Like a real-life Snow White, he named them Cedric, Croc, Carlos, Janine, Slim Eric, Brock, and Ollie. For a month, Sam doted on his caterpillar clan, in a big leafy container, giving them a luxurious life during their metamorphosis. The bittersweet moment arrived when they transformed into beautiful butterflies, and Sam had to let his babies spread their wings and fly free. I remember a similar experience with my son. Unfortunately, he proved unable to fly. Finding caterpillars in your broccoli is one thing, but imagine one of those fuzzy fellows accidentally ending up in your bag of Cheetos. This here is an oakworm moth, and with its orange furry exterior, it bears a frightening resemblance to a Cheeto. So, if your cheesy corn snack ever starts wiggling, be warned, these things exist. While such an incident hasn't happened yet, if it does, don't say I didn't warn you. The spider in the salad. If you ask me, eating salad is always a horrifying experience. All that nutrition and vitamins, ugh. But just when you thought salad couldn't get any more frightening, an unlucky diner found an extremely unwanted ingredient lurking in theirs. When Melissa Ryan Skelly gave her young daughter a pre-made salad box from the grocery store Lidl, her child was understandably disgusted. While most kids might turn their nose up at salad, Melissa's daughter had found something far more repulsive than a cucumber. A humongous dead spider, sprawled out in all its 8-legged glory and covered in salad dressing. This beast was quite the unexpected dinner guest. Outraged, Melissa snapped a photo and complained to the retailer on Facebook. Some viewers were skeptical of the claim's legitimacy, noting that dead spiders typically curl into a ball due to a lack of hemolymph pressure. However, perhaps having been squished, Melissa's 8-legged companion could indeed have been a genuine spider. Either way, to be safe, I'm sticking to my strict no-salad diet. You just can't be too careful. The flattened frog in the spinach. If finding a spider in your salad wasn't bad enough, get a load of this next story. In 2012, Londoner Sarah Moss purchased some spinach from a Tesco supermarket for a salad she was making for herself and a friend. As the ladies lunched, Sarah's friend, a vegetarian, suddenly realized she'd pierced her fork into something that didn't quite feel like leafy greens. It was the corpse of a flattened, dead frog. Despite not having eaten any of the frog itself, the horrified vegetarian immediately began to vomit. For her troubles and trauma, she was compensated with £10 in store credit and an apology. As for how her amphibian friend wound up in a bag of spinach, it was likely scooped up during the harvest along with its leafy habitat. For now, though, rest in peace, little guy. Or rather, rest in spinach, as it were. The deep-fried towel and black chicken. From bullets to human teeth, we've seen some truly unthinkable foreign bodies in food. And the terror only continues with this next, completely unbelievable, but entirely true story. In 2021, Alec Perez from the Philippines was eagerly anticipating some deliciously deep-fried chicken from Jollibee. Or so she thought. As she and her son dug into their meal, he began to complain about how tough the chicken was. Virtually impossible to cut through, Alec decided to try and tear the chicken apart with her hands. It was then that this deep-fried disaster became horrifyingly clear. As the crispy batter crumbled, Alec quickly realized she had been served a deep-fried towel. And I mean that in the most literal sense. Someone had covered a blue towel in batter, fried it, and served it to her. If not an intentional prank by an employee, it's genuinely hard to imagine how this could have been a mistake. It was freaking blue. Taking her outrage to Facebook, many insisted she sue Jollibee, though no further reports on the outcome were made public. We can, however, take solace in the knowledge that Jollibee took immediate accountability and ordered the restaurant in question to be shut down. Damn it, I was really in the mood for some Kentucky Fried Towel. Even at the best of times, chicken can be risky business, with the threat of bacteria like Salmonella. So, it's easy to imagine the fear Chitara Sharp experienced in 2023 when she ate half a chicken nugget from Chick-fil-A, only to realize the meat inside was black. For the Florida local, this was an unfortunate reality. Upon realizing she'd eaten some black chicken, Chitara claims she fell violently ill, vomiting until she had no strength left, injuring her throat and digestive system. At the time of reporting, Chitara understandably planned to sue Chick-fil-A for a hefty $50,000 on grounds of negligence. Sadly, the outcome hasn't been made public. Likewise, why the chicken was black also remains a mystery. It could be due to bone marrow leaking into the flesh, but this typically wouldn't cause sickness. so one dreads to imagine what kind of sinister, rotten bacteria poor Chitara might have ingested. On the topic of dangerous chicken, we're just getting started. In 2018, New Zealander Nadia Peterson bought boneless chicken thighs from Countdown grocery store. After preparing, seasoning and cooking them, she ate half before glancing down at her plate and being dumbfounded to spot a huge rusty nail embedded in her meal. Concerned, Nadia immediately contacted the local poison control center, who assured her she would likely be fine. For her troubles, she received a refund, a $50 voucher, and 200 loyalty card points, with a cash value of $15. Considering this could have severely cut her mouth and potentially infected her with tetanus or other contaminants, one might argue that store credit hardly cuts it. The unexpected milk delivery. In many ways, humans have never had it easier. Our ancestors had to hunt and forage for food, while today, groceries can be delivered right to our doorstep. But as we're about to find out, things don't always run quite to plan. In 2023, UK man Adam Bell ordered groceries online from Morrison's supermarket. When his delivery finally arrived, he was shocked to find a very unexpected item. As he pulled out a carton of what he thought was milk, he quickly discovered it was, in fact, urine. It appeared the delivery driver had been caught short without a bathroom, and having relieved himself into the carton, simply tossed it into the back of the van, where it accidentally wound up in Adam's groceries. Fortunately, Adam saw the humour in the situation, and Morrison's promptly refunded his order. It certainly could have gone a lot worse if Adam had unwittingly poured the contents on his cereal. That would have left a very bad taste in his mouth indeed. Spiders in your bananas. We can all agree that bananas are delicious and a healthy snack packed with potassium. However, it turns out they may be concealing some less savoury secrets. If you ever spot a strange white mound on your banana, throw it away immediately. Why? These little white clusters are actually spider nests, and not just any spiders. They belong to the Brazilian wandering spider, also known as the world's most venomous spider. Their bite is so toxic it instantly attacks the nervous system, causing nausea, blurred vision, excruciating pain, and, ultimately, death, almost as painful as a hangover. While rarely found outside their South American homeland, their love of hiding in dark, moist places means they occasionally smuggle themselves between bananas, making journeys from tropical harvesting regions to your local grocery store and eventually your home. In fact, in 2013, a British family had to evacuate their London home as dozens of these deadly spiders sprouted from their bananas. 29-year-old Concy Taylor was midway through eating a banana when she spotted a suspicious white spot. Initially assuming it was mold, she was horrified on closer inspection to see tiny spiders dropping onto the table and scurrying around. The Taylors fled to safety, and their home was fumigated to eradicate these deadly spiderlings. Luckily, even in their natural habitat, only 1 in 500 spiderlings of this species makes it to adulthood, and their fangs aren't strong enough to pierce human flesh until they're mature, meaning real danger was fairly unlikely. But imagine finding a more developed Brazilian wandering spider along for the journey. This horror story became a reality for a Staten Island family in 2016 as they returned from the grocery store with a little more than they'd bargained for. A video showed the family's alarmed reactions to a large, hairy spider clinging to their bananas with tiny spiderlings scurrying around. "Is that the mother? Oh my God," one person exclaims. While the exact breed of this grisly spider remains unconfirmed, its South American origin strongly suggests it was one of those venomous Brazilian wandering spiders, seemingly the only one of its brood to reach adolescence in its little egg sac apartment. Black widows in your broccoli. And if that isn't bad enough, imagine discovering a black widow just chilling in your broccoli. In 2018, Jacob Vaughn, a student from Ohio, stumbled across this 8-legged buddy in his broccoli. While the black widow's venomous bite can lead to nausea, breathing difficulties and muscle fatigue, thankfully, they rarely result in death. In a twist of fate, this hellish tale did indeed have a happy ending. After contacting a local animal sanctuary, Jacob's Spidey friend was adopted and given the cute name Broccoli by the Ohio Another Chance Sanctuary. Maggots in your mandarins. The timeless orange is the 5th most popular fruit in the world. and with benefits ranging from improving skin and brain development to allegedly decreasing the risk of colon cancer, it's no surprise we can't get enough of them. But before you buy a bucket load of this miracle fruit, you might want to hear Hassan Ali's story first. In 2014, Hassan purchased a pack of mandarins from the British grocery store Sainsbury's. In the midst of a mandarin binge, the 25-year-old tucked into his fourth orange, only to peel open a real-life horror story. A big, fat maggot with an entourage of eggs. Maggots like this are the spawn of fruit flies. As their name suggests, they mostly lay their eggs in and around fruit or on other moist organic materials. As their tiny larvae emerge from the eggs, they feed off the fruit until they eventually grow into the buzzing beasts we know as flies. The circle of life indeed. While supermarket fruit undergoes rigorous inspections, anomalies like this do occasionally slip through if a fruit fly is able to burrow into the fruit undetected. But Hassan viewed it as just that, an anomaly. Even this nightmare wasn't enough to put him off his favorite fruit, and after being awarded a Sainsbury's gift card as compensation, he had plenty of cash to splurge on his recreational orange addiction, hopefully without the added protein next time.